Yo, what's up guys, it's Texters. Welcome back to the Call of Duty Exo Zombie storyline series. Now, if you guys missed parts 1 or part 2, then make sure to check that one out. Both of those actually contain the story of everything that has happened all the way up until now, where our crew has just finished surviving on Burger Town. Now, if you guys missed it, I will have links down in the description below, along with annotation and video card on screen. Go check out the previous episodes, guys, especially if you haven't seen it. It's a pretty confusing story, so if you don't follow along, you're not really going to know what's going on. Now, with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into the story. If you guys enjoyed this episode, guys, leave a like, leave a favorite. Let's try to shoot for 700 likes. It'd be insane if you could hit that like goal. And of course, if you guys are new, if you enjoy Exo Zombies and the in-depth story behind it, then make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss any videos. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it, starting off with a quick recap of what happened in the last part. Now, the ending of Infection ended with our crew actually finding out that they were being saved, or so they thought, by the Sentinel and their leader, Lennox. When they actually arrived, they actually ended up getting threatened at gunpoint, and Lennox actually said that one of them had to go. It is here that we actually fast forward into what happens next, which is the intro cutscene for Exo Zombies Carrier, where we find out that Lennox shoots Oz in the head. Essentially, Oz is dead at this point. Lilith reacts and starts getting really upset that Oz is dead, at which point Lennox tells him that he was the source of the infection and the outbreak, at which point Khan says that's impossible. It is at this point that Lennox actually reveals to the crew that they are actually all dead, that they were all dead before. After this happens, Atlas actually ends up swarming in on the position, seeing as how apparently all 4 members of our crew were test subjects, or the pets of Atlas. At this point, Atlas starts chasing Sentinel all the way up until this carrier ship that is owned by Atlas that Sentinel is trying to take down or blow up. When they get to the carrier ship, they actually start hearing the voice of Oz over the intercom. Apparently, he's somehow narrating the events that unfolded on the carrier ship. Now, he starts off actually by saying that this is all hallucination and that they're not really hearing his voice. So we don't really know what's going on, but he does detail what happened on the ship prior to the crew arriving there. I'm going to go ahead and start off by playing the audio logs that were there, and then I'll summarize what happened on day 12 and 13 of this carrier voyage.
Captain's Log, Day 10. This voyage of the damned has made everyone fucking crazy. I hear whispers of mutiny. I've taken precautions to lock the door to the engine room so that no one will have access. I then hid the codes where no one can find them. Really? No one? Captain's Log, Day 11. I was confronted today by some of my senior staff. They demanded the access codes. I reminded them who was in charge of this vessel, and they reminded me I was only one man aboard a ship of hundreds.
From the audio logs, we actually learned that the captain of the ship, who at the moment is unnamed, was actually facing a revolt or a mutiny on his ship. We don't really know what he was doing, but from what we understand, he was doing some kind of voyage with these other undead bodies. Apparently, maybe they were test subjects of Atlas that they were shipping across the sea. We don't really know, but they had all these zombies on board, and he was essentially transporting them somewhere. It is at this point that the crew actually starts to mutiny, and in order to try to protect himself, along with protecting the engine room, the captain decides to put a lock with several passcodes needed to activate on the engine room door. It is at this point that he separates them into different locations, one found on an island, another inside his locker, which you can only access using a retinal scan, and another one found by completing a puzzle in the grenade disposal. Now, this is essentially the Easter egg of the entire map. You have to complete different steps that get a little bit more elaborate in order to be able to gain these passcodes that allow you access into the engine room. Now, after completing several of the steps, we find out what happens after the captain starts to lock himself in his private quarters. After completing some of the steps and gaining access to some of these passcodes, we start to learn a little bit more about the fate of the captain. At this point, the captain, now named Captain DJ. From those audio logs, we learned that Captain DJ was actually tortured by one of his chief officers, Darla. Darla actually ends up going into his private quarters with him, torturing him for information on the passcodes, at which point he doesn't give up any of that information. He actually ends up getting stabbed several times and bleeding out. At this point, we don't know what happened to Captain DJ. He might be dead, he might be somewhere else, and the final audio log that we get is from his first officer, who also claims to be in fear. He says that he doesn't know what happened to the captain, that he's presumed dead, and that he feels that Darla might harm him in the future too. And that's the final log that we get. At which point, our crew actually ends up getting a C4 from the weapon disposal area, finally gaining access into the engine room, allowing the entire ship to be brought down. At this point, they're actually trying to make their escape from the carrier ship. Unfortunately, they run into Oz, who is now a zombie. The weird thing is that Oz seems to have knowledge of who he is and who his former friends were, as he does call to Lily just before making his appearance. At which point, the cutscene ends with Oz apparently getting ready to attack the crew. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this episode, part 3 of the Exo Zombie storyline. I tried to get as much information as I could in here for you guys. So we don't really know if Oz is still alive, is he in his state of mind, is he a zombie now? All we know is that he has reanimated at this point, and it looks like he's either going to attack the crew, his friends, or Lennox. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, leave a favorite. Once again, let's try to shoot for 700 likes. It'd be insane if you could hit that goal. And of course, if you are new, if this is the first video you're watching and you want to stay up to date with the in-depth story of Exo Zombies and zombies once Black Ops 3 is out, then make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. I'm OGXRAYZ, I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon page. A link to that will be down in the description below for access to all my content early. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.